Welcome back. Last time we got started with our brochure, and this time we want to continue working on the same brochure. So you're going to need to have your brochure open. Yesterday we should have saved this file in helpful hints into our digital technology 1 folder in our student folder. And you should have your brochure handout, designing a brochure handout. We're going to be finishing up column 1 and going on to column 2 and column 3 today. And then the other document that you should have is your creating a brochure with Microsoft Word 2003. So we're ready to move on to our column 1 and finish this up. Remember last time we set up our page so that we were in landscape, set up our margins, so 1/2-inch margins, and set up our columns so that we had 3 columns. Okay, I want you to get to the bottom of your text, and we're going to be inserting our clip art. And the clip art we're going to insert is this little screen bean guy right here. To do that, go to your Insert menu and choose Picture, Clip Art. And this is a screen bean, so we can type in screen bean and hit Enter, and you'll see that we get a bunch of different screen beans. There's a bunch of them in there. To make this a little easier, let's be a little bit more descriptive. Screen bean, light bulb. And then when we do a screen bean search for light bulb, we get this little guy right here, and that's one we want to bring in. So I'm going to click on him, and notice he pops into my column 2. That's because he doesn't have any formatting. We need to change the formatting of him and change the layout. So I'm going to come over here and click on my text wrapping tab and have him go in front of text. Now he pops back into column 1. I'm going to resize him down a bit so that I can get it to look like the handout that we have. Okay. Now we're done with our screen bean. If you want to pause so that you can do that. Next, we're ready to move on to column 2. And to move on to column 2, let's look at our creating a brochure handout. There we go. And in item number 6 here, it tells us to move around the page. When you reach the bottom of the page of a column, or the first column, your cursor will move to the top of the second column. Well, with this brochure, we have a clip art down there, so we're really not typing text and entering the way we normally do. So this would be more like our scenario B. In B it says, or you can insert a column break to move from one column to the next. Click the Insert menu, then Break. Click on Column Break. Okay, so that's the process I'm going to take you through now. I'm going to go to my Insert menu and choose Break, choose Column Break, and then OK. Now when I do this, it moves my cursor up into column 2, but it also moves my clip art. I'm just going to click on that clip art, drag him back over, drop him back on column 1, and now I'm able to start to key in my column 2. Our column 2 is going to contain a couple of different things. It's going to contain our sources, our MLA sources, a group of symbols just to help break up the page a little bit, and then by your name, current date, and this will be Digital Technology 1, and we'll put in a couple lines. So I'm going to show you how to do those things next. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter a couple times. This will just kind of leave me an out if I'm using borders and shading or text boxes. It's always a good idea to have a couple extra returns at the bottom of where you're currently working. I'm going to type in the word sources, hit Enter. Now the font that we use for sources is Arial, so I'm going to change my font to Arial, make it bold, and let's set it at size 20. Okay. Sources is centered on the page. And I'm just going to click in front of sources and enter down a few times until it's in about the same spot that I see on my handout. Next, I'm going to start keying in my references in MLA format. So first I'm just going to type in the text, then I'll come back and change my formatting and put in a hanging indent. So take a moment to key in the text from both of those sources. Okay, so you should have keyed in all of the text for those two sources. If not, go ahead and pause now and continue to enter in your text. And when you're ready, just unpause and we're going to continue with the rest of the video. To make it look like it looks like on the sheet, we need to put in a hanging indent. So to put in a hanging indent, you'll see on the left-hand side of my column, I have a couple of triangles in a box. I'm going to first of all move this left triangle all the way to the left. That is the first line indent. Oh. Always got to make sure you're highlighting your text first. I forgot, so we'll try this again. There we go. So the first line of my text is going to start even with my left margin. My second, third, and fourth lines, I want to move over 2 clicks to the right. So now I have my hanging indent. If you want your text to look exactly like mine, try putting your font size down to a 12. It doesn't have to look exact, but some people like it to do that. Notice the Smart Tools broke at the hyphen. That's okay if yours breaks at that point. So go ahead and put in your hanging indent. Next, we're ready to put in the symbols that we see down here in the middle of our document, these little diamonds. So to do that, I'm going to enter down a few times and get down to about the spot where it looks like those diamonds would be. And those are actually symbols. So I'm going to go to my Insert menu and choose Symbol. You'll need to change your font from Wingdings, or whatever font comes up, to Wingdings 2. The diamond is found if you scroll near the bottom. It's not all the way to the bottom, but near the bottom, scroll up just a smidge from the bottom. And the fourth diamond in is our diamond. So again, Wingdings 2, scroll down near the bottom, fourth diamond in, and choose Insert. Now, if your symbol bar is right over the area where you have your cursor, it won't appear that anything happens. Let's move that up and out of the way. And then every time you hit Insert, another diamond will appear. So let's insert 6 diamonds, and then I'm going to close. I'm going to highlight those diamonds and bop them up to about a size 20 font. Give them a bold and center them. So now our diamond should look similar to what we have on our page. So go ahead and do that now. Next, we're ready to type in our personal information at the bottom of our brochure. So we're going to type by your name, the current date, and instead of Computer Applications 1, the class is now called Digital Technology 1, so we'll type in Digital Technology 1 there. I'm going to save off on the 2 lines for a moment and just worry about the text first. So I'm going to enter down until it looks like I'm about in the right spot. Type by my name, the date. As I start to type the date, as I type September and space, you'll notice that the date auto finishes for me. So I'm just going to hit enter to auto complete that date. And Digital Technology 1. Let's center that text. Now I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to use my Shift underline underscore key to put in that line. Once again, you could use borders and shading to put in that line. You could use your line tool from your drawing toolbar. Either would be acceptable. A bunch of different ways we can get lines on our page. So there I have keyed in my byline information. I'm going to enter, and you'll see that when I get to the bottom of the page, it automatically moves me to the top of the next page. Now we're ready to start creating our cover. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to type in my title text. Okay, just type it in regular text. You'll see that we'll do change some font options here momentarily. And then I'm going to highlight that text. I'm going to change my font to Arial. And let's go to a 36 size font. And you'll see I have mixed case for my font. And if I look at the sample, my sample is showing all caps, but the D is slightly bigger and the B is slightly bigger. That is something called small caps. So to change your text to small caps, we're going to go to our Format menu, go to Font, and then right here we have some effect options for our font. One is called Small Caps. So let's click Small Caps and click OK. And now you'll see that that text looks more similar to what we're seeing on our brochure. To space it out a little bit, let's change our line spacing to 1.5. We don't want the full 2, but 1.5. And then I'm going to move my title down a bit so that it looks closer to what I'm seeing on my document. The last thing I'm going to do with this document is put in my graphic. Once again, that is a screen bean. So I'm going to come over here and search for screen bean measure. And click go. And there's my screen bean measuring the graph. Click on that so he comes in. Once again, change my wrapping so he's in front of the text. And move him down to where it looks like he is going to appear. Okay, so now I have a brochure that looks very similar to our sample that we're working off of. We're done with page 1. Now to move on to page 2, a couple different ways you can move on to page 2. You could insert another column break, similar to the process that we used before, or you can put in a page break. Either way will work. I'm going to do a page break. To do a page break, hold down the Control key found in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, and then while you're holding down Control, hit Enter. And it moves us on to page 2. The graphic moved down with us, so I just have to slide that back up. And we're ready to work on page 2 of our brochure. Now on page 2, you're going to see some things. We've done all these things before, nothing new here. Balance, design tips, and consistency are done with WordArt. Then we have you can either use text boxes or you can just type in your text and format a box around them. Remember to leave yourself some extra blank returns below so that you have a way to get out and way to get below it. Otherwise, sometimes you can get trapped inside a formatting box or you can get trapped inside a text box and you can't get below it. Okay, so you can either use text box or type in the text normally and format a border around the text. Then we have a couple of graphics. Screen bean juggling, screen bean shapes should work in our searching. We have a numbered list. We've done that before. A lot of you did that on your summative ad poster. Once again, we have the bulleted text, that same bullet that we used on page 1. Centered text, nothing new there, and a numbered list at the bottom of column 3. I'm going to go in and help you get a word art that looks identical to what we're seeing here at the top, because that has caused some problems in the past. So let's go ahead and we will do that. So I have my cursor at the top of my second page, and I am just going to click on my word art icon. Insert word art icon, and right here we have the wavy word art, and I'm going to type the word balance. Let's use the Arial font. Now, it starts at the top with all the Adobe fonts, and then once it kind of goes alphabetical till we get to the letter S. And then it starts with our other fonts alphabetical. So that's a little annoying, but that's how you have to find the Arial. So I'm just going to find my Arial and turn on my bold. And let's click OK. Now it comes in, it's a little more colorful. We just want a simple black and white font. So once the once the word art is highlighted, I'm going to come into my Format Word Art, change my color to a black, click OK. And then it's starting to look better, but there is a shadow on here, and I don't like that shadow. So to get rid of that shadow, we just come down to our drawing toolbar. Under Shadow Style, say No Shadow, and the shadow goes away. I'm going to format my word art so it's in front of my text, and now it's looking pretty close to what I'm seeing on my sample. That's all I have to show you for today. The rest of the information you should be able to key in just fine. Remember to show me your best work. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.